So, welcome everyone. Welcome to session 10 of the second day of International Youth Entrepreneurship Summit. Today, we'll be discussing about startups and social business culture, both in Bangladesh and Taiwan. And in order to discuss those issues, today we have two distinguished speakers among us. Before introducing them, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Dr. Nazmul Hussain, an Associate Professor of Marketing, University of Dhaka. So now I'd like to introduce two of our two distinguished and very experienced speaker of this session today. First of all, we have Dr. Mark Shane. He is an Associate Professor at National Central University, Taiwan, and he's also in charge of YSBC at National Central University of Taiwan. Welcome, Dr. Chain. Welcome, Dr. Mark. And thank you for joining us today. And then we have another distinguished speaker. She is Dr. Farzana Nahid, an assistant professor of North-South University, Bangladesh. And she's also in charge of NSU Startup Next. Welcome, Dr. Farzana.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nazmul. It's an honor being here.
Thank you too. So we'd like to start our discussion with Dr. Mark. So as Dr. Mark, as we know, you have been in charge of the Yunus Social Business Center in your university, which is basically doing some social business incubation and assisting young generation to start their own social enterprise or social business ventures. So can you please tell us more what exactly YSBC is doing in Taiwan and what's your basic functions over there?
Okay.
Dr. Mark.
That's my pleasure. Yes. Maybe my screen with our audience. Is that okay? I can share my screen.
Yeah, we can hear you. No problem.
Yes. Let me share my screen.
Sure, you can. I think.
So can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
No, not yet. Not yet. Arik is in the backstage. Arik, can you help him to share his screen?
Now, can you see my screen now? So can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's now. You can see your screen.
Okay, good. Yes, I think I would like to share about what the YSBC at National Central University is doing, because it's target on young entrepreneurs. So I think I would like to share what we have done so far. Basically, I'm the director of the YSBC at National Central University. My personal background is from industrial engineering and management science. But you might wonder why I'm not from social science, but I can still lead social business center. I think because doing social business, I think it's more like a cross-discipline capability. So I think my background can help from different angle to help the student or to help the entrepreneur to do something more creative, something more innovative for social business model. So so the YSBC at NCU actually was established on October 16, 2014. I actually on that year we also invite Professor Yunus to Taiwan, and because we are the first one in Taiwan, so Professor Yunus want to make some impact, want to advocate his social business idea in Taiwan. So we are chosen to be the one. The first one in Taiwan to promote social business. So that year, we also established as YSBC at NCU. So for the past few years, the YSBC at NCU, we focus on three major areas. The first area is about educational training. So as you can see, we provide project program, we provide MOOC, we provide practical program, we provide workshop, we provide camp, and all of this program actually target on youth. So first of all, as you can see, we have the student team for social business. So as you can see, we have two programs. One is called Social Business Manager. One is called Social Business Entrepreneurs. So for Social Business Manager, we cooperate with the social business they can provide any managerial problem for our students. So students can use their expertise to provide solutions for this social business. So in the meantime, we have second program called Social Business Entrepreneur. So which means we want to provide resource for our students. They can become social entrepreneurs. So, but the social business entrepreneurship program run for 1 year. But social business manager run for 1 semester, which is 6 months. So these two programs we focus on the student at NCU. Okay, but in addition to the program for NCU, we will also provide book. So this is massive open online course. So, but the course actually we don't teach very difficult theories. We only provide case studies. So we provide case study for the general public, but of course we also target on the college students so they can learn how to become social entrepreneur from social business case. And we also have the credit program. So as you can see, the credit program actually student can, if they want to become social entrepreneur, we provide courses. So they can follow the course, to choose the course. They can have the knowledge and they can also have the capability to learn social business. So this credit program actually cooperated with not only NCU student, but also for another university in Taiwan, which is UMG University. And this is the so-called closed college, closed university credit program. We provide 28 courses for 2 university students, so they can take credit, usually 3 credits from this credit program. So once they finish 15 credit, then they can give a certificate on their diploma. So on the diploma, they can see, oh, you have the knowledge, you have the know-how to become social entrepreneurs. So I think this is also very good for students for both universities. So we also have workshop. Okay, so workshop actually it's more like for the general public. So we have unit lecture. We also have Taoyuan social business workshop. So as you can see, we'll usually invite social business founder and the social entrepreneurs. They can share why they want to become social entrepreneur, why they want to start up social business. So what I think the most difficult thing for us is to motivate students to become social entrepreneurs. So I think so that's the reason why we want to invite practitioner to provide such kind of workshop. So additionally, we have design thinking camp. Usually each year we have design thinking camp, and usually we collaborate with local NGO, NPO, or social enterprise. So they provide problems, and students can participate. The usually 2-day camp. So we somehow brainstorm and provide feasible solution for this kind of social problems. So I think due to limited of time, as you can see, we also have the Global Change Maker program. So usually it's a 4-day program. We invite founder of NGO or a founder of social enterprise across the world, student not only from NCU but all university in Taiwan. They can join with us. So we learn from the global change makers. So motivate them to change the world. So so the first part is for the educational program. As you can see, we have a lot of things to do for the youth. But second part is about the advocacy. So advocacy, we have 3 major programs. One is Unit Prize. Unit Prize is a national social business competition. So during the social business competition, we provide not only training, we'll provide lecture, we'll provide funding, we'll provide communication, we provide promotion. So will provide mentorship. So not only students and the youth can use this platform to share what they want to do for the social problems. So we also have the international forum. We have also have the Taoyuan social business gathering. So this is, as you can see, the unit price. Actually, we start the unit price about 5 years ago. So as you can see, the first year we also invite Professor Eunice to Taiwan. So they become the chairman of the judges committee. And this program is supported by the Ministry of Labor because because for the Minister of Labor, they think creating jobs is very important, and they think social business is a very good platform to create more labor powers. So this year we will run our fifth edition. So okay, so I'm running out of time. um, okay, so we also have the Taoyuan Social Business Gathering, so which means each month we the local social entrepreneurs we gather together. We provide drink, so local social entrepreneurs can share what they learn from each other and learn the experience, learn either success or failure. So they can learn from each other and become very strong networks. So it's for the local community and for the local networking. So I think due to the limitation of time, I think basically I just share what we've done so far for the youth. Of course, I think building a local system is very important. So I think if I have time, maybe I can share more later. Okay. Okay. So.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mark. Thanks for your sharing your activities with us. And I think we have some other questions. We'll be coming back to you again. So right now, I'd like to go to Dr. Farzana. Dr. Farzana, you are working with NSU for a long period of time, which is one of the most prominent private universities in Bangladesh since its inception. So you are also engaged with startups next. So we'll go to that. Before that, I'd like to ask you what is the overall condition of startups scenario here in Bangladesh. So what do our youth wants to do and how they are being facilitated with different entities? So what's your observation on that? The overall ecosystem.
Thank you so much for the question. Right, it's really crucial and very important to make a mark, and I would like to talk a lot about it. I'm not sure whether I'll be having enough time for that, but let me first clear a little bit confusion that goes on commonly among the young entrepreneurs who actually sometimes they get confused about the startup definition. So why we call a company startup? Actually, a startup is a company that can scale exponentially. It's not an SME. So we have to understand the difference between SME and startup. And of course, a startup is the one which has to have an impactful or innovative idea that has a large market demand. By that, I of course mean that it has to solve the right type of problem in the society. And this idea through which the product or service is sellable, it should be sellable and should reach more people. Which is compared to like the traditional businesses. And also startups solve big problems in the community by utilizing, mostly they utilize technology for the greater good and bring innovation efficiency in the process. So what we need actually for these startups. So first of all, the young aspiring entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs, they need to know what problem to solve. Is it worth solving? What is their USP, the unique selling point? All right, and then is this a big enough problem that needs to be solved? Here you are when you need to actually analyze the market demand, of course. Then you also need to know how passionate you are about solving this, because startup is not easy. It requires a lot of patience, confidence, ability to sell your idea, higher capacity to adapt to changes, risk-taking capacity. As majority of startups fail at the first stage. They struggle a lot, so they should have that in mind when they plan this. Yeah, and then they should focus on building the team, which is really very important. That are you having the right type of talent or not? Are you having the right number of, like, not numbers, but the right type of members or co-founders in the team who has the right type of experience or knowledge, or both, to build this startup? So they can have, one co-founder who's damn good in technical, one from operational expertise, one can be very good in product development, sales, and marketing. This is how you can build a good startup? These are the crucial points that I wanted to raise. Okay, so about the scenario of startups in Bangladesh right now. I mean, Bangladesh has more than 1,000 active startups, and the number has been growing every year, of course. To be mentioned, Dhaka, Chittagong, and Sylhet are the major cities in the startup ecosystem right now. Our government so far has created this year. The budget was 100 crore taka as the seed investment fund. So that's quite a lot. And then 28 high-tech parks have already been launched. And so far, 2,650 unions have, broadband connectivity. I also need to mention that the startup ecosystem in our country so far have created 15 lakh jobs. So how these startups are doing in Bangladesh? Startups and entities are working towards innovation, development, deployment, and commercialization of new products, processes, and services driven by technology or intellectual property in some cases. However, this is really unfortunate that the country's startup ecosystem ranks near the bottom of the global startup ecosystem, which ranked Bangladesh 98th out of 100. And also on the Global Innovation Index, if you look at, in terms of, I'm talking about 2019 data, Bangladesh ranked 116th out of 129 countries, 129 countries. So why is that, if we ask? I think majority of the founders who have been succeeded in the startups, I think the finding the right talent, as I mentioned just now, and access to financing remain the key challenges for emerging startups. Finding the right co-founder with the right talent, as I said, lack of confidence in some cases, lack of patience, and fear of failure. Many of the young entrepreneurs, because they're really young, they want something very quick, I would say. So they have to have that confidence and preparation in their mind that there can be every startup, every successful startup. We have many actually. If I give you some examples, they started with either failure or struggle or obstacles. These are very common scenario for any type of business and startups, of course, because it's something really bigger than any other business forms. So the rapid use of internet and technology, the growing number of young entrepreneurs, and the huge opportunity lying within the country is, of course, are the scope, and the opportunity that these startups then coming up, the would-be startups or entrepreneurs can grab. For example, the success stories we can show you, Pathao, Chaldal, Sheba, Shohod, Shopa, these are helping to gain positive attention from both local and international community, and also in attracting investment for startups in our country. And sectors such as ride-sharing, e-commerce, fintech, education, health are getting significant tractions where startups are solving major gaps in overall value chain. Then why startups fail in our country? Of course, every success story stands with a failure or struggle, as I said. So building a startup, successful business is every entrepreneur's goal, but only 1 in 12 succeeds in doing so. That's the research says about. An enabling policy can, of course, promote the growth of startups and the ecosystem in our country by attracting more foreign investment in the ecosystem, more investment-friendly environment, ease of doing business, and industry academia collaboration, which we are doing actually. North-South has already taken place for that. I would like to talk about that soon. So scope, of course, there's scope available. Still we need more startups in the sectors like housing, governments, agriculture. These are the areas that not yet filled up with these startups.
Need more initiatives, yeah.
Yeah, of course. And we need more, this is a very important point as a female. I should mention founders. We do have greater capacity to become one. It's just that we need about like more confidence, social support, which is very important for us to go up front. And of course, this pandemic has given us this is obviously a greater opportunity to work more on technology-based startups. This is a bigger opportunity for the young entrepreneurs. I need to mention something here that the young aspiring entrepreneurs or they would-be entrepreneurs should read more. Of course, they can be from business backgrounds, but they can always learn more and from the diverse, fields. This can only, enrich their knowledge. and expertise. So they have to prepare themselves for new and now and the new normal and for the future. So I would say they need multiple skills. Most of the founders are from business background, as I said, but they can of course have, engineers, more engineers, doctors, and agricultural field people can come up and form startups. There's greater opportunity for them. They need to have basic life skills also, before they have business skills, like empathy, communication, very important, and acceptance of criticism, social pressure. These are very common factors. They need to have this preparation. And then greater opportunity to learn tech-based skills. We have it already. Automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I think we should grab it. And then they can learn cybersecurity, which is important, really important nowadays. So, of course, during pandemic, many startups have, they have, drastically, suffered. And also some startups have gained opportunity within that. So this is yeah, of course. So if I give you some examples that who have taken opportunities and who were actually struggling at first phase, but they have gained the opportunity, they coped up. So how they cope up? Like ride-hailing company Patha, which I just said, they launched his own on-demand delivery service, which is called Patha Tong. Prio Shop, the e-commerce marketplace, they have launched a grocery delivery service. And then eValley, they have launched eValley Express. They offer on-demand grocery deliveries across, Dhaka city. They're like that. So it's up to you, if you have a situation like this, which you cannot control, either you can run from it or learn from it and profit. That's your choice, So how to face that? If you ask me, and many of my students, who are trying to set a establish a startup, I always say they have to have some strategies. Of course, there is no rocket science, there is no perfect recipe for that, but some preparation, something that goes on and already working well, like financial strategies, like they had to cut down during this pandemic. They have to cut down the cost as much as possible. They can do some, and of course, I always say, you overestimate the crisis, please. Do not underestimate it and then explode. Don't do that. And then of course, progressive nature of salary restructuring already taken place. Where by that I mean that the hardest hit, of course, would have been to those with higher salaries, so that the lower paid employees would be protected and job cuts would be avoided. That's another way. Communication strategy is very much needed. When you have a crisis like this, you have to have a dialogue, communication channel, proper communication channel with your ecosystem, with your team, with your customers, with your investors and policymakers. It's always help. Even if you're running out of money, losing your business, let your investors know about it, because hiding never helps. Rather, communication on the right time actually helps a lot. And then you have to have a product strategy. Like if you need, like Patha has done that. So you can change your product strategy a bit, to cope up with the changing demand, So many of the startups are doing that, and they're actually surviving. There's this year, we are calling this a survival year, for the startups to just go on somehow. And then business strategy, of course. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to right now. I'd like to go to Mr. Mark, and thank you, Dr. Farzana, for your wonderful discussion. You have briefly mentioned the overall scenario. You mentioned some problems, and you have also recommended some prospective solutions for that. And one thing that you mentioned, in order to have a startup, in order to have a successful startup, the most important thing that we need is to build a right team, a team from different background. Maybe someone is good at innovation, is IT. So that's one of the most important things that you have mentioned. I think all the young aspiring entrepreneurs, those who want to start something of their own, they should remind this thing. They should keep it in their mind always. All about a teamwork. In this corporate world, tough competitive corporate world, it's almost impossible to win alone. So it's never possible, in fact.
Right.
So thank you for saying that true thing. So, Dr. Mark, as you have been involved with social business, you and your team. So, as we know, social business is basically the basic objective of social business is to solve any particular social problems rather than gaining profit, just like a regular business. The very objective of social business is not to gain profit, but to solve any particular social problem. So as we know, you are in Taiwan, and Taiwan is having more or a better per capita income or better economic condition than ours, like Bangladesh, India, or any other subcontinental countries. So, why do you think social business is particularly needed for a developed country like Taiwan, Singapore, and so on? So, why do you need social business over there? What sort of exact problem are you trying to solve through social business? Dr. Mark, do I need to repeat the question again? Dr. Mark?
I think there's something wrong with my microphone. Now, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah, we
Can you hear?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so my question was, my question was,
Yeah, I know your question. Yes.
oh, thank you.
Yes. Good. I think even in Taiwan, even we are a developed country, but I still encounter a lot of social problems. I think uh, only by government, I think that's not enough. So, so that's the reason why social business is still very important for Taiwan. So, for example, um, NCU, YSB and NCU, we cooperate with the local government, the Taoyuan City. Taoyuan City actually is when you arrive Taiwan, the first city you visit is Taoyuan City. It's just located near the airport. Okay, so
Mhm.
so Taoyuan City actually want to become the first social business city in Asia because Professor Yunus also have a very high hope of Taoyuan City because we have the first YSBC in Taiwan. So for the past few years, we cooperate with the local government, the Taoyuan City government. So we also push them to establish the first social business center in Taiwan, the first and the only one in Taiwan. So the reason why the Taoyuan City want to have a social business center is because they also understand by government power, they don't, by government resource, they don't have enough capability to solve all the problems. Some of the problem need innovation. Some of the problem need the youth power, need volunteer, need a business model to solve. So that's the reason why for the past few years we uh, cooperate deeply with the local city government. So we help them to run many activities like provide mentoring, provide workshop, provide lectures. We do things together. I think um, if only by YSPC and NCU, I don't think we have enough resource to build the ecosystem. So I think um, building a local ecosystem is very important for uh, for for social business creation. So so I think even in Taiwan, each city have different problems. So for example, in Taoyuan, we run a, a, a competition called Taoyuan Social Business Startup Competition. So the so that so the topic is about usually the competition is to solve the social problem at Taoyuan City. Taoyuan City. So each year, for this year, actually we attract more than 100 teams, to participate in the Taoyuan social business startup competition. So I think and every participant team they need to provide solutions for Taoyuan social problems. Okay, for Taoyuan social problems, and our target audience is for any student or any youth below age
Dr.
18.
Mark, will you please mention some specific social problems that you are trying to address?
Okay,
So there are, I know that the type of problems, it varies from country to country, culture to culture, but the exact problems that you were addressing through your team.
okay. So for example, I think the most important, the challenging question is about the aging problem. So
Aging.
the aging problem is I think the most challenging problem we want to provide solutions in Taiwan. We also have even though the unemployment rate is very low, okay, so Usually the unemployment rate in Taiwan is about 4%. But I think employment, especially for the new immigrant, because each year we have many new immigrants. Okay, so the unemployment problem for the new immigrant, I think, is another issue we want to provide solution for Taoyuan City. And other problem we want to solve is we have the local indigenous group, and how to improve their well-being is another issue we want to solve. Okay, so I think this is usually the three major for the elderly society, for the new immigrant, for the local indigenous group. I think usually are the most usually the problem we want to solve for Taoyuan City.
That's great. That's great. It was very specific, and it's wonderful to know about you and your team's initiative regarding social business in Taiwan. We'll be coming back to you. So now I'd like to go to Dr. Farzana. Dr. Farzana, as you mentioned, and we already know, you have been involved with North South University Startup Next. So you have an organization which is helping to come up with new startups, and you are also helping throughout the entire ecosystem. So can you please let us know the details about your works over there in Startup
Yeah.
Next?
Sure. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Um, uh, this is the incubation program from North South University. It's newly established. We just launched the program on 29th June. So first, before that, I would like to say that we all know entrepreneurs are the backbone of the nation, and we all know that. And however, there's a lack of support system for them, actually, which they really need. They not only need the education institutions to teach them the entrepreneurship, sales and marketing, business theories, but also a full-fledged guidance and grooming, mentorship, logistics support, and financial support in the early stage of startup as the startup founder. So this is where this NSU Startups Next comes in. We already, I would like to proudly say that we already have some graduates who are successfully done these stories established, and they have been successful over the time in startup business, just like Pathal, that's the bike ride app, the grocery app for Chaldal, Truck Labbe, and then iFarmer. These are all our graduates, by the way. So I wish we have established this long before, but it's never too late. So what NSU Startups Next actually doing, it's a platform with the right tool resources. And what we will give them is actually guided mentorship, engaging some experts, both from internal, that means we have internal academicians, and also outside experts who are really not experts in the startup ecosystem. And then we will give them networking opportunities, and of course, early stage financing. We will facilitate that too. We already have some exciting programs in the country, like GP Exerter, Robi, Venture, Banglalink Incubators, and so on. And from the government, we have Startup Bangla. However, NSU SN or NSU Startups Next is the first university incubator, I must say that, to focus on idea or early stage founders to help them to grow their business. To be mentioned that this incubation program is beyond just a mere business competition. This is, of course, I would say that this is an experiential learning opportunity for them, where the aspiring young entrepreneurs can learn hands-on how to start, operate, and grow a real-life business. Very important. So right now we are at the first stage. I would request you to please show the website if possible, so that I can call people to apply, because right now we are in the first phase of our program. We are actually taking applications. We are actually inviting people to apply us. All right, so before that, I would like to say why we have external advisors. It's people we have taken with us, very experts, and from government, public-private partnership area. We have experts from legal and professional support field. We have experts from social impact, angel investors. We have venturists, and also we have founders of startups also, our advisors. So our program is actually 8th month for the cohort 1. This is the first year we're running. Right now we are in the application stage. where NSUSN is actually receiving applications from potential applicants about their ideas, or some of them are really at the initial stage of business. And then we will go to the second phase, will be selection and onboarding, where the advisory panel will carefully evaluate the applicants and find out the top teams, and then we will have incubation program, which is about 3.5 months to 4 months long, where they will receive a weekly mentorship sessions on more than 12 different topics, such as building product, raising investment, and so on. In this phase, our teams will receive networking and partnership opportunity with industry experts and potential investors also. And then is the graduation phase. Upon the successful completion of the incubation program, the teams can graduate from the program. However, NSUSN will facilitate investor networking and negotiation with hands-on monitoring, so that the teams get proper guidance to raise money and grow their businesses. So that's all about our program so far. So I would like to, and also I would like to mention a very important thing, that this NSU startups program, many of the people get confused by the criteria to apply here. We are being very flexible. By that, I mean that the teams who are applying here with their innovative ideas or at the very initial stage of business, only minimum one member of the team has to be from North-South. That means it can be a undergrad student, or postgrad students, or alum, or faculty member. So only one member. It can be more than that, but our criteria is only one member. If from North-South, that is good enough for us. So this is why we are, so this is a flexibility that we are giving. So I think this is a great opportunity for the young entrepreneurs to come and, and during the pandemic, of course, I think this is a real good platform for them to, not only getting the initial funding or whatever, but also a full-fledged guidance. It's a full package, so they should grab it.
Thank you, Dr. Farzana. It's really great to know about your initiatives. And in fact, it's a wonderful platform, starting from the idea generation to networking to funding and so on. A complete package of guideline. So, Dr. Farzana, I have a specific question to you. Nowadays, we're seeing that
sure.
our young entrepreneurs are mostly focusing on IT-based startups. Here and there, always we're seeing type of IT-based. Either you were talking about Pathao or Chaldal or whatever, or even Traklakbe and so on. So don't you think we need to focus on some other diversified areas where we can deal with physical product or services? If everybody focuses on IT-based or app-based solution, the market will be saturated. It's more than we need, right? So what's your thinking about this?
Yeah, I actually agree with you. And why this is taking place, I would say, because the technology is actually getting attention. And of course, after this pandemic took place, this is quite obvious that we have to keep, social distancing and whatever we are saying, in our everyday life right now. So it makes more sense for the startups to come up with more of like technological, so that we keep that distance and still we can go on these apps and websites and all. But I would say, of course, we have opportunity, we have scope to do with the physical products as well. Of course, as I said before, when I wanted to introduce, define these startups, that it has to solve a real problem. We have so many problems to be solved, right? The fulfilling the gaps, the dots in the society. Of course, they can come up with this if it has real demand in the market. We have really good scope to work in healthcare. Of course, we have seen this time. This is such a crucial time that we have witnessed. Our healthcare has actually, I won't say fallen, but I would say there is a lack of monitoring, and there is a lot to do with this healthcare sector too, I would say, and also and I also know that although we are, pushing all teachers and institutions to go with this online platform, but are we really prepared totally for this? I'm not sure, but I think we need more upgradation, I would say, bandwidth strengthening, and many other things, so that we get a system inclusive. We should have an inclusive and a holistic approach to look at this. I agree with you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So one last question for Dr. Mark. Dr. Mark, I think we're running out of time. So, one last question to you. As we know, by the definition of social business, it has several principles, exactly 7 principles. And one of those principles is that the investor will not be able to generate any money in the form of dividend out of social business. So in this case, a common question that we usually face from our student, then why do we invest in social business? If I cannot draw any dividend out of this business, then why should I invest in social business? Why not some other traditional conventional business? Because I need money to survive. So is it feasible for a student or for a young entrepreneur to start his or her first business as a social business? Dr. Mark, please unmute yourself.
Okay, now I'm back. Okay, I think that's a very good question I think many students also want to know why they want to create social business, because there's no dividend. I think I will always tell them, because now the new social entrepreneurs actually, they not only want to make money, they also want to make social value. So for making money part, they just need to sustain. I think that's enough. But I think the most important part is to maximize their social impact, maximize the social value. So they create social value from social business. So I think making money is not the most important issue. They just need to sustain. They just need to find a very innovative way to sustain their business model to provide solutions. So I think that's my answer. So maximizing social value from social business is the spirit of new social entrepreneurs. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Dr. Mark. Dr. Farzana, a very last question to you. In fact, it's not a question. It's basically we want to know your advice or suggestion towards the young aspiring entrepreneurs who or would-be entrepreneurs. Because nowadays we're seeing a lot of young people are interested to do something of their own. So what will be your advice or suggestion for them, especially from our perspective? In general, suggestions or advice in general for the young.
I mean, if I would like to refine, okay, for startup related or in general for their career, I mean, from what perspective you want me to answer this?
Young
for the young entrepreneurs for their career, for their,
yes, yeah.
building. All right, of course, if I look at the current scenario, I would say that, there is always a way to move on. Okay, if we look at the current scenario, I would say there are a lot to learn from this. And we by nature, Bangladeshi, I always say that we have the blood of entrepreneurship because we have been born and brought up with limited resources. So I always say that even if I go abroad for any conference and I showcase my family businesses that we have in Bangladesh, I always say that the young entrepreneurs of our country, and now they have greater opportunity to grab all these, like this summit that you have, these platforms, there's a lot to learn and to work on this. So I would recommend them to learn more, to look at something in a very open mind. If there is a problem, I know there are things going on like hindering their career right now. Some of the young entrepreneurs who wanted to go abroad for their further studies and all my students, they're facing trouble. Morally, it's more of like they're getting pressure from family. On the other hand, there's a mental depression going on. It's going on with all of us, actually. We are not outside of this box, right? We all are part of it. So I would rather recommend them to learn something, to take the opportunity of this time and to better improve yourself for near future, because this is a platform, this is a current scenario is giving you another type of opportunity to learn things, that how you should react in uncertain situations. So this is how the young entrepreneurs, they have like young blood, and they're really more creative compared to us, to think about innovations and what else that can they add in their skill set. So I would recommend, please learn and develop multiple skills will always help you. Do not just focus on one single area. You also have to have extracurricular activities, your passions. It can be anything, music, whatever you love to do it. It always, ensures you to work in harmony and sound mind. So that's also important. So I think
Thank you.
that's all I can
Yeah.
think right now. Yeah.
Dr. Farzana, we are almost in the end of our event, but I truly would like to ask you one more question, Dr. Farzana. In terms of
Sure.
entrepreneurship, in terms of startups, we have plenty of ideas. Some of them are implementable, some of them are not. But one common problem is always there, which is funding. Funding issue is a vital issue. So a very common question they raise, sir, where from we get this funding? I have idea, but I don't have money. So regarding funding, what should they do? Where from they get this funding?
Okay, it's really a good question. Of course, it's actually I have to ask them first that what do you think about your business idea? Does it? When I started this, I asked some questions. That is your idea worth enough? Do you have a big enough problem to solve? If you have a big enough problem to solve, I think and I believe, because if I would talk about 10 years before, yes, it was quite crucial, and people, these entrepreneurs had to have more hardship finding investors. But now if you look at the current scenario, we have angel investors, we have venture capitalist firms, we have accelerating programs. So they actually need to know in what stage they are in, what problems they need to solve. They have to have that preparation. They need to know first what they want. If they're prepared to face investor, I think, and I believe, I have seen this, that all the startups, if you see how they made money, they have got that money somehow, right? They've arranged it. Maybe from couple of, like, not from single investor, from couple of investors. This is how it works actually in this ecosystem. So why not they grab that opportunity? Before that, they have to know themselves first. Are you passionate about this? Good enough? If the problem is good enough to solve, the market size is good enough, you can always find the right type of investors. And we are here, like North South NSUSN is there. There are some other accelerating programs as well to guide you through. We can always say sometimes a wrong idea comes in. That's not a startup. That's a good idea. Maybe it can work as an SME. So we can always guide them, from the education institution and all, of course, from these programs too. And we, of course, need more programs like this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Farzana. Thank you for focusing these issues. In fact, it's really very true that funding is not a big deal nowadays. We have plenty of organizations, as you mentioned, to fund, to invest. But the basic thing is what exact problem your idea or your business is going to solve. If your business is going to solve a bigger problem, definitely funding will not be a problem. So it's all about identification of problem and solving that problem effectively, and how passionate you are in doing your business, solving that problem. So thank you for your wonderful discussion, Dr. Farzana and Dr. Mark. And I would like to express my heartiest thank to both of you for giving your precious time and cooperating with us. I hope we'll be able to see you some other platform, some other time again. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Sure, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Nazmul.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.